Everybody listen to Off the Stage podcast, you
And welcome to Off the Stage, the show where we take musicians off the stage and into the pub to talk about the ins and outs of the music world. I'm your host, James Berry. This is not Conor Michael. Conor couldn't make it today, unfortunately. He's playing mini golf.
He's at the US Masters, I think, or some kind of Star Trek convention,
Yes.
possibly.
He is but to replace him. This is Scott Kears, and today we have the band. I'm going to say this right. I hope I say this right. Crowley. Yes. See, I did my homework.
Excellent.
Now, Crowley is a hard rock band from Newcastle, and we're going to slowly introduce each member of the band. Starting at the very end, we're going to ask what your name is, what instrument you play, and most importantly, what you're drinking.
Okay. I'm Lydia. I'm the singer of the band, and I'm not an instrumentalist. And I'm drinking Schofferhofer that I've been tricked into thinking it was grapefruit, but it's pineapple, so I'm not having a very good time.
That is horrible.
Do you not notice it's pineapple? Spoiler alert, she's also drinking Schoffer. I've lost my fluffy bit. Does that matter?
It's down.
Doesn't.
Right.
Don't worry about it. It's. The only reason I put them on is basically so the microphones all look the same, but it's fine. Don't worry about it.
It's got to be different.
I was trying to be like professional and all that, but it doesn't matter. It's fine.
That's fine. I'm Eliza. I play lead guitar, and I'm drinking a crisp pint of Diet Coke because I'm driving. Diet Coke, sponsor me. Yeah, I'm done.
Your
So you
turn.
need to know.
I'm Kim. I play bass guitar. I'm also drinking Schofferhofer. It's out of a grapefruit glass, but it is pineapple.
That's false advertising.
And I'm Ruth. I play rhythm guitar, and I'm also drinking Schofferhofer, which I had no idea was pineapple.
This band is an anti-pineapple
Yeah,
band.
I like pineapple.
Obviously,
Okay.
we all have a very
Yeah,
refined
I mean,
palate,
sponsor
none of
me,
us
Schoff,
could
yeah.
tell.
I feel there's a bigger sponsor. I'm Scott.
Well, to be fair, I was what I was going to say is what you're drinking, Scott. I should have said for us first, shouldn't I? Really, but never mind.
I'm drinking an aniseed porter, and it very nice it is too.
I did have a try of that. It has that absinthe smell to it.
Beautiful.
Is it like drinking black licorice?
It kind of is.
Yeah.
I think that would make us think of Sambuca too much. and
Yeah,
it might-
same.
That's
might trigger I might have like a PTSD response
That's
or
where I'm
something, so
kind of-
keep that away from me.
yeah. It just reminds me of the time I almost set my eyebrows on fire.
Yeah. Oh God.
Actually,
It's
Direct
the time I
did
nasty.
set my eyebrows on fire. It's my eyelashes and they've grown back a treat. Won't do you any harm. Bit of pyro every now and again.
Well, it's never, a little bit of pyro's never hurt anyone, have they?
Well, kind of.
So the name Crowley, where does that come from?
Go on, Eliza. Okay, it's my time. Well, no, we bounced about lots of different names before we landed on that one because we knew we wanted to do something with a bit of a sort of a cult theme, because we're all pretty interested in that. And I think it was Lydia actually that suggested it, and then
You were in the group
and
chat,
then
like,
I
please.
was like, yes, I want that one because well, I'm a huge Jimmy Page fan. I think through being a fan of Zeppelin and his work, that's how I then got interested in spooky things.
Yeah.
And obviously he was talked a lot about how Aleister Crowley's work had influenced him, and also with Sabbath, you've got songs like Mr. Crowley, so it felt like a nod to both the kind of occult themes that we like to tie in, but kind of more so the musicians we're influenced by, who were influenced by him, and it sounds good, Crowley.
Yeah, well, I was going to say it's quite a unique name.
Something that is chantable as well.
And he's my celebrity
we've all been
birthday
in,
share.
we've all
I had to get that in.
Crowley.
We've all been in bands that have had too many syllables in their titles, so you live and learn. It's like no one's going to chant anything that's like a mouthful.
Yeah.
And we'll shorten it to something that you hate. So
My band's called James Berry and the best ever folk rock band out of Fullable.
please tell me that's a joke.
That's hard to get on a
Chantable,
t-shirt.
yeah.
I'm making the t-shirts now and the designer's not happy.
It's how like literally wrap around the front and then go on the back as well.
Yeah, pretty much. You've just got to do a full circle just so you get the name.
Poor lady stitching it's got cramp. Which is,
Fingers are bleeding.
Yeah, just had to give a shout out to our Libra King, didn't we?
Yeah.
Good old
We're
Crowley.
all Libras here.
No, we're not.
Oh shit.
We're all
You were all Libras.
It's been what 2 minutes and we're on to
Kim.
astrology. We're all Scorpio risings, but you and I are Libras. Kim's a
I'm
Virgo.
also a Libra.
Oh, shit.
I'm not.
Yes.
Can I say
You
like
can
good
swear
stuff?
if you want. Just we've got one rule where you're allowed to say the C word once. You're not allowed to do it twice.
Right, like me.
Okay, who's-
So you've got to find
Dibs
the
the
moment.
moment.
Dibs.
So you get the dibs.
Unfortunately for you guys, that C word is Crowley. So
We've already said it there.
God, the artist formerly known as Crowley. Okay, 3 Libras and a Virgo.
Do they?
Yeah.
Do they clash? Because I feel we're missing a member, aren't we?
Yeah. Matt is not here.
Matt.
We killed him.
That's you. Yeah.
We're eating him right now.
Yeah, no, he is.
Deep fried.
He's in a basement somewhere, chained up.
Yeah. We resurrect him every time we have a gig, so he's actually dead.
Yeah.
What star sign is the drummer then? What star
I
sign
don't
is
know.
He gives me Aries energy, but I don't know what he is actually.
We don't know yet. He's still relatively new.
Should we give
Right,
him a ring?
Yeah.
Give him a ring, yeah. We'll give him a call.
No, but we need
Text
to do.
him.
You need to text his mum and get his time of birth and place he was
Time he
born.
was born.
and Do his whole chart.
Because that's important, you know. Just
Yeah, it is. If you want to get your full chart, you got to know all that.
have you ever had someone called in for?
Hi. We've never had it.
Just really quickly, what's your star sign?
Is that the Ariesy thing?
He's an Aries.
He's an
You
Aries.
said it.
Aries.
It's an Ariesy thing. Are you an Aries?
That is
Yeah, I am, yeah.
Fucking
Yeah,
fantastic.
that is
Yeah.
clever.
Thank
That you know
I
what?
knew
That
it.
deserves a round of
Yeah.
applause.
So there you go.
Susan Aries.
Science.
Get back in your basement.
God's like, who wants to be a millionaire? Phone a friend, isn't it? Right, thanks, bye.
What?
Yeah. Probably.
That's all. Thanks. Bye.
Back in your
Well,
basement.
we should have asked what he was
I
drinking.
can't have an Aries in my
Genuinely,
band.
what would have been truly magical there is if we'd gone,
That's
is
the
that that
exact
Aries
opposite
thing?
of Libra.
And then went, no, well, I'm a Gemini.
It's not that Aries. It sounds like you've asked that question before.
No.
Have you not asked that question before?
I'm surprised.
I'm just that good.
Yeah, she's just that.
That
good.
is that is clever. That. So when did his form? Like, how old is Crowley?
Well, we had our first gig in July of last year. Or was it June?
July.
She's not relatively
But I think
new
like
then, yeah.
it was I think we were like we'd gone for a few months before that. But we booked that gig as like a deadline for us to like, you know, light a fire under our asses and actually like because I think if we just like started a band, started writing music, there would be no like goal. And we probably still wouldn't have gigged. So we would like throw ourselves into the deep end.
Wow. Yeah.
No.
You've got to
Got
give
that
yourself
gig.
a deadline and get
Yes.
the fear.
And honestly, like we
The
were
fear.
all terrified.
The fear was
we,
real, man. Yeah,
The
the
fear's
fear.
still real.
yeah, we were unprepared.
Yeah. So we're not even a year old yet.
It's pretty good to get like a gig in there. Like,
Well, we were all in bands beforehand, so I think like
Yeah.
obviously
you've already got the kind
yeah,
of
so people
the
like
general-
knew what look, they've seen us play before, they knew our capabilities. So then when they saw that we'd all come together as a new lineup, I think there was a bit of a hype build where it was like, oh, that's that last round of that band. I was like, oh, that'll be good. And then we've got a bit of a following going on already, which is quite nice.
That's really good. So how did you meet then? How did the band form?
We all met at different
Did
points.
you all like know each other
I knew
before,
Lydia
or you-
before. I knew Lydia before
Right.
because I had gigged with her old band and my old band. We'd gigged together like a few times. And I used to sing in my old band, which I hated and was very bad at, so nobody go and listen to the songs. So I'm not going to tell you the name of the band. And so I was like, I really just wanted to be a guitar player, you know. So asked Lydia to sing, and then I think I just stalked you on Facebook.
You did, yeah. You
I can't
just
remember
got a
how
random
that came
message, I think,
about.
one day being like, this is what our kind of band
Gonna shoot
influences
your
are. Do you
shot,
fancy a
don't you?
goal? I was like, yeah, okay. And then I knew you from playing in Licks together.
Yeah.
Years and years ago.
So are you the mastermind behind everything, or is it
It was her idea.
her idea? Right. So
I think mastermind is the idiot behind Crowley.
Whose dumb idea was this? Hers. Yeah, so I think you just left like your old band that will not be named. And you messaged me saying like, oh, I want to get a band going, and at the time I was still in my old band, and I was like, maybe, I'm quite busy at the moment. But then it was like after lockdown and like, you know,
it's always lockdown,
yeah,
honestly.
like we all like the spark had just kind of gone, like we weren't clicking. I wasn't really feeling it, so I was like, yeah, go on then. I'll do something different, try something new for a change. And it all
It's
worked
just
out.
like, it is, honestly, every single band, well, not every single, but majority, probably 90% of the bands we've kind of had on the show, all like, so how did you start? Well, lockdown. Like, it just seems
Well,
like
it
it's just
changed
reset everyone's
everything.
brains, isn't it? Just like think, well, what do I want to do now? I've got all this time, and you know.
Yeah. Well, I think it landed in a funny age for a lot of people. Like I spent my 20th and 21st in lockdown, and usually if you're out in the world, those are 2 years where your whole personality kind of changes,
that's it,
you know. So it was weird. It was like,
Is that why you like this then?
No, I was like that already.
I do think as
Just
well,
went a little bit stir crazy.
it is kind of that perfect time to be creative, I think, because no one was, very few people working unless you're like a key worker. And I mean, we, as a band, released quite a bit during lockdown, and we're all writing a bit more, and it kind of, it does work for a
See,
lot
I
of
was
people.
the other way around. Like I couldn't function at all in lockdown because I was so uninspired. So I was like
really drunk.
Yeah, I was drunk a lot of the
Yeah,
time. Honestly, the amount of
remember much of
wine I
lockdown.
consumed in lockdown,
Oh,
like
the
I'm
red
surprised
wine.
I recovered. Like it was like easily a bottle a night, if that. And then you know when everyone was doing like the online Zoom quizzes, it was like, well, you didn't have anywhere to be, so you could just stay up drinking until 2 o'clock in the morning if you wanted to, and like there's no consequences other than you'll have a bad head. But then you get up and you do it again.
Yeah, because you had a bad head, you think, hair with a dog. Okay, then. I was just, there's always queues at the supermarket, but I can guarantee it was not about food. It was
That's
about
alcoholism.
because you think, 3 bottles of wine that'll last us the weekend, one night, and then you're like, oh, let's.
Lockdown for me was like being a teenager again, because I went back up with my parents. I'm from, I don't sound like it, I know, but very rural Aberdeenshire, and so it was quite nice. I've got no neighbours anyway, and so it was great. I was back in my teenage bedroom. I finished uni, but I'd get up, do a couple hours work, play guitar all day in my room with me Spider Line 6 like a sweaty little teenager, and then get pissed and repeat. And I had a fabulous time. It was very nice.
That sounds quite good.
So you had a much better one than I did.
I had a great time.
Especially if you've just finished uni as well. You're like, oh.
Well, I was finishing it.
Oh,
but
finishing. Oh, right,
I mean,
okay.
there were no distractions, so it was pretty easy.
It's
Just
kinda like
cracked
work from
on.
home, isn't it?
Yeah, it was all right.
That sounds good. That.
So we had that group of venues that were doing like paid lockdown shows, like live streams and stuff. And I developed a bit of a drinking problem because of that, and it was that association of going to the pub to play, so you'd have a couple of beers, and, kind of like you were just hanging out with your mates, and it became a massive problem when I remember waking up and doing a 10 a.m. live stream and going to the fridge and kind of like, the first thing I was going to do was go and grab a can of Guinness or something. You're like
9 in, just like.
The worst way to start your day.
Yeah. It was
and now we're back onto cornflakes. So
It's worst things to drink in the
Cornflakes and
morning,
Guinness.
to be fair.
you can get a breakfast stout, can't you?
So there was someone talking to me about they went and did like a whiskey tasting experience, and like the guy who was showing them around on the tour was like, so this one's more of a breakfast whiskey.
I love a breakfast whiskey.
Breakfast whiskey? Is it whiskey for breakfast?
Do you remember which one that was? Do you remember which one that was? Just research.
I can't.
Any
But
That sounds
also-
like such an alcoholic. don't
any
it?
whiskey.
Like,
can be a
Breakfast whiskey is a state of mind. If you put your mind to it, anything's a breakfast
Sounds
whiskey.
like a good name for a song,
Some
actually.
orange
Breakfast
juice.
whiskey.
Breakfast whiskey. Breakfast whiskey. No,
It's
breakfast at
definitely
Tiffany's. No,
biased.
I'm getting the name.
Definitely by a southern rock band, I think.
Yeah. This
In the
next one's
countries
called
that rock
Breakfast
and rolls.
Whiskey.
Breakfast whiskey.
Anyway, I'm still.
And then like they have the whiskey bottle and use it as a slide.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. I was gonna say it was Adam, your manager, who actually organised this because he saw because we had Ellen on, and he's like, oh, quite like this idea. We'll get Crowley on, and so how long since when you started did Adam come into the picture, and has he always been there?
Eliza knew Adam quite well, and apparently he'd always been like toying with the idea of management.
Yeah.
And things started like picking up for us quite quickly. And he mentioned it, and like Eliza was like, "Yes, please." Like literally, like jumped
we
straight
kind of
straight to the
hassled him
idea.
for it a little bit.
Yeah.
So you kind of asked him to do it, but you kind of knew each other.
Yeah, well, he hadn't. This is his first sort of go at management, but he's helped out a lot of artists in a ton of ways over the course of his career, because he's a writer, he's a photographer, but he's helped people book shows, and I've known him. I think actually the first time I met him was the first time I ever visited Newcastle briefly when I was like 15, which is a whole other story of its own, and he was shooting down here. So had kind of roughly stayed in touch, and then just did, you know, a lot of photo shoots together, so I got to know him a bit more. And I think it was actually his wife, Lisa, shout out Lisa Kennedy.
We love you, Lisa.
We love you, Lisa. Who said, you know, he's thinking of going into management. So I was like, right, we're going to hassle him. So please, if you want to manage someone, you know, we'd be the first to put our hands up. And yeah, so after a while, sort of made it happen. But it's been going great so far. You know,
just
really happy with
it's
it.
the one thing I forgot to ask Ellen about, kind of like being, like having an actual band manager. I've always been curious with it. So what part does he play? Like, is he part of like any part of like creative process or image, or is he just more?
I
like
think he's got more of a say like with image and stuff. Obviously, he's a photographer, so he
Ah,
helps
so
us a lot with
yeah.
our artwork. And you know, we've done a shoot lately where he had this vision in mind, where it was we went to Cafe Under the Spire in Gateshead, and it's got like this gorgeous like stained glass kind of mosaic vibe window there, and he just like he puts ideas forward, and like pretty much all of them were like, that looks mint. That sounds mint. Yeah, let's do it. But for like the writing processes and stuff like that, like that's all us, really.
Yeah. So he has some kind of visual input, but mainly as well, there's a lot of advantages to having a manager if you trust them and have a good relationship with them, because he can approach people for us and negotiate things like fees with more experience, and he has such, you know, he's got great contacts. He's good at contacting people through all the work he's done over the years. So being able to kind of reach out to people on your behalf, it saves you having such an admin headache that you forget to write any songs.
Yeah, I think it's a different, like, I don't know if it's like a psychological thing, but it's having someone on your behalf kind of book things for you, and I almost feel sometimes like they know your worth more than you do, because I don't know. I think it's
hard to say no.
British people, because like I know I kind of like self-deprecate myself and bring myself down. Sometimes we don't know our own worth, but someone on the
you need someone to sell
outside looking in can sell it much better.
See, I found like with my old band, we'd constantly be chasing venues, being like, oh, like I'm in this band, would like to play here, or would like to do this support slot, and like they won't give you the time of day because, you know, you're just a band messaging them. But if you've got someone to vouch for you, then it looks better. But since we've got Adam, I seem to be getting people messaging me asking, and I'm like, where were you like 3 years ago? What the hell, man? And I'm like,
it's like famine our feast,
like,
isn't it?
message the manager. Like that's what I have him for now.
I bet
and
that
then,
feels good though, doesn't it? Yes, message the manager.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
be in touch with my manager.
Yes.
I feel like I should say as well, to give him credit for everything he does, is he's really, really good at kicking our arses and making sure that the ball's rolling, because everybody gets kind of fatigued, and particularly with creative stuff. So he's really good at going, right, okay, let's make sure we've got a plan.
Yeah.
What, you know, so he's just,
that's my problem that I have.
It's like a bit of a team captain.
It's direction. It's kind of like it's trying to focus on a single thing, because it's like the music business itself. It's like especially if you've got to do everything all at once. It's kind of like you think, what do you do first? What do you do? But if you've got someone who's like, okay, you can do this. We're going to organise this for this time. That's a huge asset, actually.
It's like great to have like a strategy man on board.
Yeah, that's it. Someone who has like a plan, like a. You know.
So it's harder now than it's ever been. I think at the same time as, you know, a lot of people say, oh, it's great because all these things for self-release are accessible. The flip side of that is that not only are you expected to be a musician, you're expected to be a website creator, a content creator, a social media marketing manager, and wear all these hats and play all these roles. So just having another person on board.
And to put on top of that, because it's so accessible, it's just the market now is just so drowned in everyone. It's hard to get your head above the parapet of just actually getting noticed, because everybody's doing it. Like, I don't know how many. I'd hate to imagine how many songs are actually on Spotify, or how many songs get released on
Shall
a
we
daily
count
basis.
them?
We could do, yeah. There'd be some madman out there trying to do like break a world record for the most amount of songs played on Spotify. It's mad, like.
Probably.
Well, this would be the part where we'd usually close and do like a part 2, but we're just gonna roll on and keep, if everyone's happy with that. And I think the first thing I'm going to ask is, what is your unpopular music opinion?
Should we start with Ruth? Go with the other one.
Yeah, I really don't like the Beatles. That's my unpopular musical opinion.
You know what? I've got.
No, I'm sorry.
My wife absolutely hates the Beatles, so we've got.
She knows.
Not to get enraged here, but what's weird about that is their songs are so varied. It's like,
yeah, man, I've
you know what I mean? Do you hate the whole catalogue?
I always say there's at least one song you have to like, but
I've dipped in and out, and I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Not one Beatles song at all.
Like Blackbird's a nice guitar line.
I mean, it's a nice guitar
Bit of
line.
sitar.
Helter Skelter, the creation of heavy music, really.
that was the first song
but-
as a drop D bass. Fun fact.
She doesn't care, man.
Every day at school.
It
No,
also
like-
So
it
it's
also
their
inspired
fault.
Charles Manson to try and kill a bunch of people as well.
Yeah,
but
see,
you know,
so,
it swings and roundabouts.
They've done bad things too. I can appreciate what it did for music, but
Yeah.
personally,
It's just not your
ours.
thing.
Yeah,
No.
not ours.
It is a manufactured band. It's like it's a pop band, and people don't realise that. It's like, but they started it though. Thing with the Beatles is like whatever they did, all the other bands copied. So you say like the '60s style. It's like it's not the '60s style. It's just the Beatles what they did.
Yeah.
But you know, it's.
The thing is, you've got to look at that as like the Beatles will have kind of stolen that from some 1950s blues musician, and
That
you
is
know, there's-
true,
there's-
Yeah, it's difficult to have the conversation though about like stealing things, intellectual property, etc. when everything is part of one big story of music that you can't separate. But just to defend my main man Paul McCartney for a second, actually, I'm a Ringo person.
I tell you what, we're going to
Actually,
be
here's my
Andy,
controversial opinion. I fucking love Ringo Starr. Right?
Ringo. You heard it here
He's
first.
so cool.
Ringo.
I love Ringo Starr.
I have to say, Thomas the Tank
I said
Engine is
it.
the best thing he's
It's
ever
the
done.
best thing.
Yeah, I would agree.
Well,
I
yeah,
absolutely
probably. I
agree.
love Ringo. Anyway, no, that's one controversial music bit. But there's so many amazing bits of the composition that go. I mean, let's take Penny Lane for example. Right, when it gets to the chorus, it sonically in pitch it moves up, but the key modulates down, so it makes your brain go, "Ooh, we're getting high," but also it's getting a bit lower, and that's what makes you feel nostalgic. Andy uses a Baroque piccolo trumpet on that record. What other pop bands using a Baroque piccolo trumpet?
You know
Ruth, I
why?
think you might have struck a nerve, mate.
Beatles are great.
Do you know, I used to be in a Beatles tribute act,
Incorrect.
and we tried to keep everything kind of
Were you Ringo?
very. As John,
Oh,
you know, there can only be one.
Basic.
I want to be Ringo.
The song that I really loved was Hard Day's Night, playing Hard Day's Night, because the introduction chord that everyone knows was actually an amalgamation of 3 chords that the band played. And it wasn't just one chord, but it came out sounding so kind of solid that, yeah, I think they were revolutionary,
They're
personally.
really cool.
Honestly,
So Ruth's wrong. Let's
your
move on.
your
called an opinion
controversial
for a
opinion.
reason, Eliza.
Your
This is why it's
controversial opinion
controversial.
is how everyone talking about the Beatles. That's just
Yeah.
like it's backfired.
You're welcome. For the,
Beatles are great.
And does anyone else have any unpopular, controversial
I
opinions?
don't dislike Nickelback.
Oh,
you know
no,
what?
I
I
like
agree.
Nickelback.
I agree.
That's just
Love them.
wrong. Out.
I agree. I like
They
Nickelback.
didn't do anything to hurt anybody. There are so many worse bands out
So
there.
many.
Yeah.
Like,
You know what?
why them?
I was talking about this to you actually. I was saying literally the Nickelback hate, the hate Nickelback have, is the reason they are still relevant today.
True.
It's because it's the meme of like, oh yeah, this is like, yeah.
I feel like it's like
shit
it
Nickelback.
like divides people because there are the people who are like, oh, Nickelback fucking suck, man, and then you've got the people who are like, why? Like, why are you so angry?
you know my
what did Chad
theory?
do to you? Like,
You know my theory behind it? It's because they were like a country band with a little bit heavier instruments, and they tried to fit themselves in the metal kind of Kerrang scene, and I don't think I don't think
It's
that fits.
because his lyrics are a bit embarrassing.
Yeah,
I think
they're a
that's
bit-
what
they're
it
a bit
is. It's like
cheesy.
when you listen,
They
they're
just
a
didn't
little
quite
bit
fit
sort
in-
of.
They were too heavy for country, but they weren't heavy enough for like.
They're, a lot of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
lyrics.
it's just like so they're trying to appeal to like metal,
Yeah.
and that's why metal's not gonna like.
but
the
I feel
country
like
stuff.
there's like a
riffs are
whole
good.
category of bands that do that though, and they don't get as much hate as
100%.
Nickelback.
But it's
Yeah,
because
that's
there's
true,
whatever becomes trendy to not like, and then it's embarrassing to admit. Like
Yeah.
Nickelback, I wouldn't, probably buy the T-shirt, but if they come on, I'm like, yes.
I would do it just to like incite chaos.
Yeah.
I walk like
Next
walk,
Crowley gig
walk
out
out
for
on
you.
stage like just wearing my Nickelback T-shirt, just like fight me, bitch. Like
Because his lyrics can be a little bit sort of, I'm gonna shag your sister, and it's like,
Yeah.
But
Which song's that one?
all of them,
I think that was one of the B-sides, yeah.
all of them.
I'm
sound
gonna
like that
shag
to
your
me.
sister.
That's a Nickelback.
Oh my
song.
God,
classic one, man.
It is, right?
That's it. Yeah. Okay. No, I agree.
That's a
though.
copyright strike right there.
Guilty pleasure.
Yeah, I do quite enjoy them.
What's your controversial music?
No, don't make us say it because you'll hit me.
It's okay. I already know.
I quite like Britpop.
There's nothing wrong with Britpop.
There's nothing wrong with...
Blur were the first band I ever saw live when I was 7 years old, and they were amazing.
Blur.
Amazing band as well.
Blur or Oasis?
Fantastic. Blur.
What? I'm just doing the Father Ted thing, so it's...
Blur.
Oasis, I mean Oasis.
You got some really good bass lines in there. So.
I used to like Oasis back in the day. Well,
No, Oasis,
You know
Blur.
what? Oasis, the Oasis were just they were just a hard-hitting rock band they were a little bit edgy, and they were... I mean, the dicks, but you know, just...
I don't dislike
do not
Oasis.
like
I dislike Oasis fans.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
that's
God.
exactly it.
So
Can I-
pretentious.
Can
Not all
I
of them.
say as
But all
well, like, okay, so my controversial opinion, or one of many, is that I fucking hate Britpop so much. But I used to be a sound engineer until recently in a little venue, right? And whenever it was a band called like, if it was like really heavy stuff where it was called like Corpse Fucker or whatever, I'd be like, oh my God, people are going to be so nice. And I would have the best time. And
Oh, you
every
just know
time
straight
it was the
yeah.
Britpop fans is when I would get like sexist abuse hurled at me. Like I would not look forward to the Parker wearers. I must say,
I
have
find
not
that
had good
sad.
experiences.
It's like the feel is like a part of an image, isn't it? To be like
This
hard
is,
and
I've
just
probably
like
very see. I think
No.
that was probably controversial. I'm sure there are lots of very lovely
It's like
Britpop
that
fans.
Kevin and Perry sketch where like he's been to Manchester. He's like, "Yeah, right, Kev.
I'm not like
Have
that.
you been to
Eliza.
Manchester?" I'm like, "I don't know who's asking."
I don't think I'm a
That's
hard
why
player.
you're not
how I see all of them.
But I've had some bad experiences
between
with that. But I think a controversial opinion for the guitarists out there, though, is that like I really like Yngwie Malmsteen, Paul Gilbert, any kind of neoclassical shred, because something that you hear a lot from guitarists is like, ooh, technical wankery, oh, that. But I kind of come from like a classical music background a little bit. I had played classical piano when I was younger. I haven't done it in like years now, but and so like coming to like neoclassical, like really shreddy stuff, it's literally just Bach. You know what I mean? It's most of it's
I was
just
gonna say
a
that
concerto, and so it's one of those ones that you get a lot of people who they're probably not going to go up to you and be like, yeah, Mozart sucks, but they'll be like, ooh, Yngwie is just, oh, he's got no feel, but I disagree.
Yeah.
So
More is more.
Well, you
more
can-
is more.
You can tell them that at the end of the year. Great.
Yes,
Yarmouth.
a great Yarmouth, because we're playing Hard Rock Hell.
You'll
and
probably
Yngwie's
shriek at
playing.
him.
Ooh, very good.
I will shriek at him. I want to steal his leather pants.
I'm so glad I
Them off
didn't
his
take
body.
Try and get inside those leather pants with him.
I like how you went straight for the pants,
To
not the
form
guitar.
one
That's-
guitarist.
That's not somewhere I really
no,
want to go.
I like all the like crazy shred. I think why not? It's fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's your controversial music opinion?
Well, for all I think Freddie Mercury is a genius,
Yes.
I cannot stand Queen.
It took me a while to like Queen. I'm not a Queen fan,
I'm
but
not
I,
like-
I,
yeah.
I enjoyed them fine.
It's
Admittedly, it's
the older songs are Queen. I think.
You know what's good? That Ogre Battle one. Like
You know,
that
I don't
movie
think I'd
song.
ever go out of my way to listen to Queen, but I'm not
No.
going to hear Queen and be like, ugh.
the reason I can't. It's the guitar sound that Brian May
Interesting.
gets. I cannot stand
Very
it.
Because he's
Interesting.
for me, he's Queen's like. I kind of feel like I should be a Queen fan, but they were maybe a bit musical theatre for me. I don't know.
I think that's possibly it. Yeah.
But there are lots of Queen songs that I do really like, and a lot of their early stuff, like Sheer Heart Attack and whatever. But I saw them live, you know, the show with Adam Lambert, and it was quite musical theatre and a bit shiny. But Brian May was great. He was really cool. He still does that kind of slightly forgotten thing of like the whole band like went away and he did his whole solo section with all planets coming down. It was very atmospheric and very moody. And I think he's one of these guitar players where seeing him live kind of really gave me the respect for him that I
I
maybe
feel
should
like I
have
should
heard.
like him. I'm a fan of like Nuno Bettencourt.
Nuno's absolutely
Like
phenomenal.
Nuno is a god.
He's annoying.
I
Like,
tried
he
playing
kind of
his
pisses us
solos
off a little bit
before,
because, like, if you've seen him when he does Get the Funk Out by himself,
No one
and
should
he's,
be
he's
that
singing
talented.
it and he's playing it at the same time, and he doesn't drop a note like
The
in
tapping
either
bit
of
in
them.
that
I'm like,
solo is insane.
Bumblebee is insane as well. When he's
Yeah.
when he gets kind of kicking into something like that, it's frighteningly good. I feel like he is born of Brian May, but
Yeah.
there's something about his guitar tone I just cannot get away
That's
with.
fair enough.
My thing is, it's like he sounds like he's playing with like a metal
50 pence piece.
Well, he does. He used to play with a.
Well, that makes sense, and that's why.
That'll be why.
He plays with, what is it,
Like
sixpence?
Sixpence, yeah.
Yeah, plays with a sixpence.
So they're hard
But
to go
he
by
made
nowadays.
Imagine if he loses
it
that.
himself.
Like if you lose a plectrum, you can
Yeah,
buy
he's gonna
another
be
one.
like,
If you lose your
fucking
sixpence, like
yeah.
It's like you got to go to the flipping Royal Mint and
Yeah.
it'll be 20
But
quid now.
he made
Bid on
that
one on
guitar
eBay for like
himself
200
out of a
quid.
stair banister, didn't he?
Yeah.
Really cool. He's yeah, and he still plays that same one, and he made it himself, and it was like part of a fireplace, part of a stair banister, and he's a nice man, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I like Brian.
Yeah.
I don't have anything against him personally.
He's like one of the
he's a smart guy and all.
Do you know what it is? He's one of the only 70s guitar players you can still say publicly that you like without people going, oh, but you know what he did.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean?
It's just because it hasn't come out yet.
You never know. Yeah.
Not Brian. Brian's
Nah,
precious.
he's
Not Brian.
He saves the battle.
if it turns out that Brian's a nonce, I will come back and I'll eat this table.
That's the worst thing about being a classic rock fan is it's getting increasing. I mean, especially like I'm a huge Zeppelin fan, and you get a lot.
We
of
don't want to
people
talk
that
about
go,
what Jimmy Page did.
Yeah, no,
I really
that's-
don't. I really don't. He played guitar.
We don't have
It's,
to think about that.
Well, it's you appreciate the art and not the artist sometimes. I mean, just like what Clapton's like. I mean, he's still a bit of a bell end.
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean,
you don't
his
see
Batman.
Hitler's paintings in an art gallery, do you?
Yeah, they weren't very good though.
Oh, well, they're not. I've not
No.
actually seen them.
That's why I
but-
didn't get into art.
So I don't know,
school,
do you
innit?
appreciate if you saw a painting, you're like, that's really good,
But
and it's like, Hitler
yeah.
painted that, you'd be like, ooh.
I
did
think
you?
everybody,
Yeah, well.
but everybody weighs up. You know, there's a level of good, how good your playing is, how bad what you did is, because you know, I mean,
It's like
6 million.
Oh, so
Yeah,
it's
there
fine
was-
if you like killed a child. It's okay because you're fucking shit
If
hot
you're
guitarist,
missed-
so it's fine.
There is. I think there is a kind of like.
It's an ethical
if your
dilemma.
lyrics are good enough,
I
you
don't
can
know.
do
Yeah.
whatever you. No, that's not true.
No,
That's
there
not
is, I mean, there's a kind of like, yeah, that's just fucked up, and then there's like.
They're gonna play this in court when
Yeah.
Eliza's like taken down for some like fucked up like Satanist shit. He'd be like, right, her words right
Oh,
here.
no. When the human sacrifice comes out, my licks aren't good enough, man. Is it?
Well, it's mine. It's not necessarily a controversial opinion. More of a, I think it's more of a conspiracy theory that jazz isn't really music. It's basically
Well, that's just
people.
not true, is it?
It's people. Hang on, it's people just
Like Miles Davis.
well. Sometimes you can have but I think they just make up chords, and I reckon they're just doing it to troll us.
Yes, but
I
are all
don't agree
chords
that
not
there's-
made up?
Yeah, I don't agree. There's a C sharp augmented
You find
suspended.
chords.
There
If you find
there
if you
is-
find chords in the wild, let me know.
There is a C sharp augmented. You
I'm
play
with you on
C
this
sharp
one.
and then you raise the fourth. and then
But
you
that's
raise
just what a jazz person would say.
Okay.
I just don't see it.
I think this is a man who's afraid of jazz.
Yeah, well, apart from the drummers,
I think
I've been in
you're
New Orleans,
you're
alright.
intimidated by the C sharp.
maybe I am.
He's been inhabited by the spirit of jazz.
but you know, because I reckon the jazz players they can just, you know, when they go on the solos, they can just play anything they want and it works.
C sharp augmented isn't real. It can't hurt you.
It is real.
So have you,
Do
I
you
mean,
check under the bed
right,
at night for
okay,
C sharp augmented?
I can prove this right.
Dissonance.
I can prove this right. Have you ever heard of the guy called John Benjamin? Right. I might have a copyright strike here, but we'll do it because I need to prove this theory. So John Benjamin, have you ever heard the cartoon Archer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So he's in it. Well, so there's a cartoon. It's like a comedy thing called Archer.
Right.
And John Benjamin, he kind of stars in it and stuff like that. And he wanted to be in a jazz band. So he got all these really good musicians together to play a bit of jazz. And he did an album. And he got all the jazz players. He was obviously the bassist, the trumpet player, the drummer and all that stuff. But he wanted to play piano. So he does that. So he does this piano solos. Now here's the problem. He doesn't know how to play a piano. But he did this album anyway. And honestly, just see if you can make...
Is it like Troutmaster
This is
replica?
I think
true.
I've heard
To be
this.
Glorious.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm gonna play this clip and show me if you can notice whether he's a jazz singer or not, jazz player. Hang on.
Sounds pretty good so far, yeah.
That sounds true, doesn't it?
Yeah, I can tell he doesn't play jazz piano. That's like the piano equivalent of someone falling down the stairs.
Amazing, honestly.
That's really horrendous.
That's a C augmented.
That's how you can tell that it is real because that's nice jazz playing with some moron hammering a piano over.
That's
jazz
John
is
Benjamin.
You know what you
That's-
need to
that's
listen
gonna
to?
get a copyright strike
Try
by the
some
building.
post-tonal music. Get that up you.
Oh, right, okay.
Get some Stockhausen in your ears, and then
I might try.
if you want to really have your like sense of reality stripped away and just everything you know.
So I was hoping
then
none of
listen
you
to
would be a
some Stockhausen.
fan of jazz to understand that.
I'm a
but-
fan of jazz.
Oh, that's a shame.
I like Alice Coltrane.
I don't have a
In her old band, she was in a band with Howard Moon, the greatest jazz musician in Leeds.
You must
But
earn
anyway.
your door.
Jazz is real and it's coming for you all.
Check under your bed.
Check under your bed,
Yeah.
folks.
That's all you're gonna hear now, like.
It's like the soundtrack of Nightmares. Like everything's fine apart from just that.
There's a guy, but you know what? I do find that hilarious though, because there's a guy who just can't play piano, but he just
Yeah.
decides he wants to do it.
Have you heard William Shatner's cover of Bohemian
Oh,
Rhapsody?
that is. You know what? There's a thing we play that. Well, it's my old band. I still play gigs every now and then, but after our set, we play Bohemian Rhapsody by William Shatner. Have you seen the Rocket Man as well?
Rocket Man
Yeah,
was the
I
key.
love that one. I
takes-
heard his Desert
takes a
Island
sip.
Disc.
Not related, but has anyone seen when Yoko Ono covered Firework by Katy Perry?
I can imagine.
That was
I could imagine
something
it's just
else.
incomputably screaming and
Yeah.
just like.
Yeah,
That's
but in an artistic way.
Yeah.
that's-
My next
It's
controversial
jazz.
musical opinion. Fucking love Yoko Ono, man. Why not? Oh, yeah, it's great.
I knew the only jazz lover would bloody
There's
love
I
Yoko Ono.
don't, you know, it's
We're talking about like
entertainment.
It's entertainment. I mean, I'll give you that.
like John obviously deserved like a strong creative woman in his life, being like one of the a very influential bloke, but the best he could do was Yoko Ono. Like, have you seen that when they're on stage and they're
Chuck
doing
Berry.
Toronto.
with Chuck Berry?
Oh,
He like
yeah.
turns around and he's like,
Yeah, it's the Toronto Music
I
Festival.
think Yoko Ono gets used as a scapegoat. Okay, I think she does. I think people like to hate Yoko more than is needed because John was not very nice.
Counterpoint.
man.
During the Plastic Ono Band's only live gig, she sat in a bag and screamed.
That's because it's performance
Don't
art.
we all
in
feel
a
like that
artistic way.
sometimes, though?
It's because it's performance art and not music.
not in a bunny boiler way, in an artistic way.
Is that when
I
she
should try
covered
that.
Katy Perry? Because doesn't she sing something about, do you ever feel like a plastic bag? Is that her
Maybe she
transit?
does feel like a
I
plastic
do
bag.
sometimes.
Yeah.
I do.
No, I've never felt like
Blown
that.
through the wet.
Do you
No,
ever feel like a burlap sack?
I thought it stopped there. I thought, it was, do you ever feel like plastic bag? I wasn't questioning. I was like, yeah, sometimes. Yeah, on my bad days.
Like that one that's like
Tesco's
the
one,
handles
one.
are all stretched and they're like going to snap any minute.
Do you
They've got like
remember
holes in the
before they
bottom.
brought in
because,
Bags for Life and the proper little
Little blue ones,
Yeah, I feel like one of them
yeah.
sometimes.
The
Yeah,
blue
yeah,
corner
yeah,
shop
yeah.
ones.
Or the one that
The
it's
Aldi
been like
bags.
flying around in the wind for ages. Yeah.
Do any of you guys remember Summerfields?
Yeah.
Summerfield.
Summerfield's bag?
Wow, yes.
Feels back. Is that what you feel like?
yes,
that
I know
that's
Summer.
what I feel.
I thought you mean like Summerfield's Festival?
No.
Honestly, I thought the same. And I was like,
Summer with an S-O-M-E-R.
Summerfields, it was like
So
a
it's-
pre-Tesco.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had one just round the corner. It was just turned into a Sainsbury's.
whatever happened to
Yeah.
Netto?
What's Netto?
Netto
Netto.
turned
I
into
don't
Lidl
remember
slash
Oh,
Aldi.
is it? It was the one that had the little
Imagine it.
Scotty dog as the logo.
And it was
I
like
don't
you
remember
didn't want
that.
to be seen outside with your,
Oh,
with your
yeah,
mom
'cause
shopping
it was
at Netto because it was
embarrassing.
like,
That was
yeah.
an insult. Your mum
However-
shops at Netto. Right.
However, when you were
Okay,
like
that's how they
15,
live on.
you could get 20 beers for a five or something.
It's
great.
Loved it. Right, I've got another question.
Moving on.
And you thought you'd be talking about music.
Wow, that was a tangent, wasn't
I
it?
already
What
regret
a tangent.
90% of what I've said so far.
Controversial musical opinion.
Right.
Netto.
Right. What was the first ever song you performed live in front of an audience?
Oh, God.
I think I'm too
was,
scared to answer mine now, actually.
No, I feel like you've got it.
Yeah.
No, I've got the backstory.
Nativity when I was like, I think I was in nursery.
Oh, but we all did
And
a
I was-
Christmas nativity.
But I had a solo in it though. I was the angel Gabriel, fuck those gender roles. And I was like front and center, just singing my little heart out. I can't remember what the song was. Some Christmas tune. But yeah, that was my debut performance, and my mum cried.
Is it on video?
And then I grew up and started screaming about Satan. So
Do you have that on video? Because
look at how the turntables.
that
Probably
is so
somewhere.
cute.
I'll see if I can find. I mean, not on us. I'll dig it out.
Just have a look.
Send it in. If we can find it, we'll just edit it in. Great.
I think mine must have been playing Humoresque by Dvorak at a funeral.
Oh.
I believe.
I'm learning so much about you tonight.
At my grandfather's funeral. I think, because I said I played piano before, and music didn't become sort of, I guess, more than a hobby for me until I started playing guitar when I was about 15 or something. But when I played piano, it was just kind of a hobby. So I think actually my first handful of performances would have been either that or Haydn, concerto thing.
Some classical thing.
Something.
Some classical thing. Yeah.
Jim, your first song was really similar, wasn't it?
I don't want to say my first one actually. It's really bad.
What is
And
it?
I told it off camera, and I regret telling.
We're all friends here.
Right, so I'm just a bit concerned of being cancelled, and but
It's a Gary Glitter.
He'll post his apology video to YouTube later.
So, and I'm gonna have to put some context into this. Okay, you'll probably know when I say it, but Borat was a really popular movie at the time.
I've never seen it.
Oh, have you never seen it? Well, you're gonna hate the song then.
And she plays.
Yeah. So I think the song starts with, "In my country there is problem." I did the accent as well. This is really bad.
This is problematic.
Yeah, I'm not going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Actually, that was my first. It was a buskers night, and it was like a last minute thing. And they're like, "Oh, and this is the only song I knew."
I love that was the first song that came to your head, not like Wonderwall. I know.
Yeah, well, it's a better song than Wonderwall. I'll give you that. No.
Straight to the Borat.
Just because I was
Back in the time when casual racism was not
yeah,
frowned upon as much as it is
So it's
now.
just like, but I feel quite embarrassed by it now.
That's three really weird answers so far. What's
Yeah.
Go on, Ruth, I'll let you. I'm still thinking.
I can't really remember what the first one was, but one of the first ones for sure was we used to have this like talent show in our school called Talent Star, and you used to put a band together or you'd sing, and like you would have to win out of certain rounds of people. Like, went through the county and stuff. I think we were about 14 and we did The Bad Touch by Bloodhound Gang.
Tune.
We're like 14 singing about
That's like
doing
a
it doggy
formative
style
memory
and
for you
stuff.
now, isn't it?
All the teachers are there watching, and it's a bit, looking back, I'm like, wow, ballsy for
That's
sure.
not appropriate.
Was not appropriate. No one stopped us though. We were like, we're going to do this. They're like,
not
all right,
appropriate.
Yeah, crack on.
There was a lot of songs back then. 'Cause remember that song, "Girl, I wanna make you sweat, sweat till you can't sweat no more, and when you cry out, I'm gonna push it some more."
Should I?
Do you not write
Do you not remember that
Is that
one?
Peter
Oh, you know
Andre's
what? I think I'm
Mysterious
showing my
Girl?
I
age
feel like
here.
this is an original song or a fever dream.
I feel like I'm showing my age now. It's like it's a song in the 90s. Looking in your eyes.
I was only in the 90s for about a year, so I don't remember. them
Looking
very
in your
well.
big blue
It was-
eyes. Sha-la-la-la-la-la.
Who's it by?
Sha-la-la-la-la.
That happened to be the
Yes,
B-side.
I know, yeah.
It was the B-side to the
yeah.
racist
I
song
never
that
knew the
James
lyrics,
released
though.
earlier.
It was in my country there was a problem, and no, but that was like we used to sing that like as young'uns, and it was
Who's
such
by?
an inappropriate. I can't remember who it was by. It was like a one-hit wonder.
Oh, right. Okay. No, I don't.
But I remember used to sing that like back in the day, and the teachers never even batted an eyelid. Just like,
I've done
oh
a
yeah.
fair few hokey cokies in my time. Does that count?
As a
Did you
solo
get perform
performance.
solo? Because that's really upsetting.
Did you? I mean, it
Just
depends.
imagine you just in a room by yourself, just like putting your left foot in and out. Hey man,
Shake
you
it
know.
all about.
The nights are long.
Okay. Oh, I still
I
know the
might
dance
actually do
moves.
that when I get home. That sounds like fun.
You know what?
That's a ritual if ever I've seen one.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what? I think that would be a really good like club night. Just all like the classic songs. You know, like the Macho Man.
Oh, yeah.
Time warping.
Let's do the time warp again. And I am the music man. I come from. You know, you do
Like
all
proper
the
caravan park.
Yeah.
caravan party. We'll call
Cha-cha
it that.
slide. That was
Cha-cha
that was
slide,
the
yeah.
good old classic.
Cha-cha slide, yeah.
You know what's
Never fails to get us pumped.
disturbing is that Gangnam Style is to kids 10 years younger than us what the Macarena was to us.
No, the Macarena will live on. Gangnam Style will die of death.
Yeah, I think
100%.
Macarena still.
A timeless classic.
I still see people dancing to the Macarena,
That is my
even if the
go-to.
Macarena's not even.
That's
there.
that's my
just-
go-to dance. If
yeah.
I'm like, I'm just.
I don't know how to
fucking
dance. You
this.
just
In the club.
you just-
Yeah, all the time. Even when I'm at a gig and I'm watching a sport band, I don't know any of their fucking songs, so I'm just like.
should change it to the bad touch. It's the same. Yeah, it's the same dance really. They just kind of just reimagine the Macarena.
I forgot there was a dance to that as well, Jules. You didn't do the dance as
Well,
well,
no,
did you?
we were performing instruments, man. It was real authentic experience. You know?
Yeah.
You know the dance. I've never seen the dance.
I didn't know.
I mean, I've seen the music video where they're all in the monkey
The monkey
costumes.
suits.
Yeah.
Back when
Iconic.
Kerrang TV was on, they go,
Yeah.
It's still there.
Good
It's still
old
playing the
days.
same
Is
songs,
it?
I think. Yeah, somewhere on the channels.
get in.
The channel.
On the channels.
Some more Nickelback over there. Yeah.
On the music box.
High Nickelback, Marilyn Manson, and Tainted Love. That was on like every day.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
There's like something about Marilyn Manson Tainted Love that seems to like, I don't know, activate some kind of stripper mode in every girl in a nightclub ever. Every time it comes on, it's like these people who've just been sat so politely suddenly are like up on the tables giving it like. I'm like, fucking hell.
Good song.
It's weird seeing him now. Have you seen him very recently?
Oh yeah, he's.
He was all, I mean,
He looks like. Have you seen he looks like Nick Cage though?
Not personally.
No, he now
has a
looks.
metalhead son. He does. He has a goth son.
He now
like
looks.
Andy Brenda.
He now looks like someone who would sellotape £5 coins into your birthday card.
He always did, though. I mean, like, has seeing Marilyn Manson ever not been really strange?
Yeah.
But he's now one of the many list of people who's been a naughty boy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I
Very
mean,
naughty.
is anyone really shocked by that?
I feel
No,
like
well, you
we're
can't
all
judge
a
it
bit
by its
I
cover,
was-
Eliza.
No, but in this case, it turns out, you really can.
You can. You shouldn't, but sometimes you're right. But
He's not a nice man.
No.
Tunes,
Anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on from.
Usually, so again, we usually have 3 parts, but we're just going to roll on because we're having fun, aren't we? This next.
what?
I am.
Well, I am. Yeah. I'm having an absolute ball.
Don't let her bully you. It's fine.
So I usually make this part of the show where I go on Reddit, the absolute cesspit that is Reddit, on r/musicians, and there's always some anonymous musician who has some sort of dilemma, who wants questions to answer, and I thought it'd be nice for us to see if we can come up with a solution to their problems.
No, I have problems. I have no solutions.
And I was going to say,
Those messages are
we're
from me.
supposed to help
I am the one putting them on Reddit.
I've got lots of solutions, just not to my own problems.
Yes,
so I would like to hear
World
them.
This-
hunger, I'm on it, but
To be
like,
fair, this one's a very easy one. It's by user Blurry Pics Look Good.
that's me.
That's,
It's Lydia. What does Lydia need?
so Lydia is looking for a stage name.
Is blurry pixel looks good not a good state at
I
work?
think that's a really good
Blur-
stage.
blurry
Yeah, we've
pixel.
answered. So there we go. Don't even have to answer it. Anyway, so she says, I want something feminine. Or
Dave.
Davey, because if you put a Y on it, it's more feminine.
I want something
Or
feminine
Davina.
or gender neutral.
Davina.
I'd say 2 names is what I'm aiming. I want something that resonates with
Dave
being
Davids.
badass, but that is also funky, psychedelic, or ethereal,
Keith.
dreamy. Any ideas welcomed.
Davey Davis.
Dave Keith.
Either Dave Davidson or
No, there is a
Keith
Dave
Keithson.
Davies. Like,
Is there a Dave
he's
Davies?
irregular, like one of the pubs around here.
Godspeed,
in, like,
Dave.
he's
Shout
just-
out to
in,
you,
like,
Dave
He keeps
Davies.
We'll
forgetting
find
that
out where
I
he's
exist,
playing.
even though I've met him many times. He's like, yeah, right, I'm Dave. And I'm like, Dave, I know.
I know.
I've met you many times. Anyway,
Shout out Dave.
So do we have an answer? Because she wants like a feminine or gender neutral name, and she
what's
wants to
the
be
style of her
badass.
stuff? Like, what does she do?
Funky, psychedelic, or ethereal.
There's nothing
dreamy.
more psychedelic than a name that does not represent anything that you are.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Mushroom Queen.
Mushroom key. I like that.
See, Laser Toad will always be.
Laser Toad. Oh my god.
Laser Toad.
Laser Toad.
Laser
I'm looking out
My
for
God.
Laser Toad.
There you go.
We were like
really
this
feminine
close
as well.
to being on
Yeah.
Laser
It's
Toad.
close to be called
It's
Laser
close.
Laser Toad.
Big Toad fan of
She can have
lasers.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laser
that's-
Toad.
Laser
Yeah.
Toad. You know what?
Oh, Grandma
If
Toadstool.
we find a band
It's
called
always a good
Laser
one.
Toad, you should ask for 10% commission from that because that's
Yeah, you heard it here
hell of a
first.
name,
Yeah.
right? I'll give some suggestions actually. There's
not
some
doing
people
too
commented
bad.
there. This is I don't know what the fuck that means. Fartin Luther King. That's a fucking shit name.
That's sweet, yeah.
Knife puppy. I like that.
Since Grandella.
Queef beef.
Great. That's classic Reddit.
Shagger. badass, funky kick, psychedelic team, up in the ethos of person kind. Oh, that's shit.
You can't chant that.
No, you can't.
R/ethereal.
R/a Oh, aye. Chipotle Cameroon. There's some awful names here, like. Lukewarming and Petalthorn, but I think
Lukewarm petal.
No, I think our suggestions.
I think
are
Laser
better.
Told is absolutely the best name. So we've solved that. That's great.
Oh, solved that one.
I still
Yeah.
think
Problems
Dave
We do have solutions.
Psychedelic.
It's
we
a good
do.
chanty one, actually, Laser.
We'll call it Laser Toad Dave.
Laser Toad Dave.
Dave
a very
the
feminine
Laser
name.
Toad.
With
Gender
the lead
neutral.
singer, Keith.
Keith Todd.
Shout out to all the Keiths.
There's I mean, how there must be like a youngest Keith in the world because nobody calls the.
I reckon they're just
kids
spawning
Keith
at 30,
anymore.
me. They,
Right.
don't, they, can't,
Actually,
they can't be
it's-
born.
It's like-
Keith
yeah.
Richards
It's like they
is
come out the
like they're
Matrix, just-
gone.
No one looks at a baby and goes,
Yeah.
Keith.
Looks like a Keith.
Looks like a Keith.
Yeah.
Oh, like,
I've looked at babies and
Dave?
thought they look like.
no.
It looks like a Keith.
Simon, no.
It's just because it's
Gary,
old-fashioned
baby
now,
Gary.
I think. There was
Yeah.
once a time when Keith was
Kevin?
like the hip happening.
Kevin?
Like,
No.
Brian's
I
a name
but
you
that
don't
was
hear.
like 40
Brian,
years
Brian.
ago.
Sure.
Bob.
You sure about that?
Yeah, there's a place called Keith near where I'm from. Yes.
Is that where they're all
There's probably
born?
going to be no more Normans.
Yeah,
Keith.
they just migrate
They
there
don't
to
have
breed
names.
once every.
They don't have names. They're just called
Breeding
Keith.
ground of
It's the
Scotland.
We go there
breeding
once a year
grounds.
and fight it out, and then the one that
Yeah.
lives is
Well, this
the
is what I'm
Keith.
saying.
There can be
Keith-
only one.
now.
Keith
Scotland,
Richards
that
is their king, and that's why he's immortal.
Yeah,
and he's
the
like
god.
the queen bee of Keiths.
This is a really good concept for a movie.
The rest,
Like a B
Keith
like a
Island.
horror spoof thing
I
where
know.
like Keith Richards is like got like Hunger Games going
Yeah.
on, where it's just all Keiths, and he's
Keith
like the
Island.
final boss.
the rest of the Keiths, yeah. And he's entirely sustained by shepherd's pie, apparently.
Is a shepherd's pie made from the other Keiths?
Yeah. No,
Keith
it's
pie.
food.
Oh my god,
Keith
a Keith quiche.
I hear he's part cockroach.
Yeah, what?
I hear he's part cockroach.
Oh no, cockroaches are part him.
Yeah.
No, have you seen Men in
That's where the
Black?
confusion
He's
lies.
literally he's just skin filled with many cockroaches.
Yeah,
He's just like,
that's
I made him like that.
That still freaks me
I
out.
love
That
Keith
you know.
Richards
Yeah,
so much.
it was uncanny, wasn't it?
It's about time we started thinking about the kind of world we're going to leave for Keith Richards, isn't
It
it?
is. Because I want it to be a nice place. For him.
Well, I mean, give it a few years. He'll have palm trees in the UK and everything, global warming and stuff. I think
He'll
he'd quite,
like that.
I think he'll enjoy that. I think he'll like that.
I reckon we're headed for a Last of Us style, fungal takeover. Because there's like
Fungal takeover. That's a great band name.
fungal
Fungal
takeover.
takeover.
Like there
There
just
we
seems
go.
to be so
Blue
many
Ribbon
people
Reddit,
at the
good.
moment that have got a problem with mold in their house. I feel they're just going to take over eventually.
You know
Did
what?
Did you
Us
see
and
the
There's
amount
only
of
so much a
mushrooms everywhere
dehumidifier
as well
can
in
do
the
for you.
autumn?
Yeah.
There's mushrooms everywhere.
Good.
Telling you, it's because the planet's getting warmer,
promo.
and like
Not
you know
those kind
they're
of mushrooms,
adapting.
sick.
They're going to suddenly.
it's not.
You heard it here first, folks. The
Yeah.
mushrooms are going to take over,
Good. Glad we've established that.
Well,
What
that's,
was it?
and I will be the mushroom queen.
I can't remember what the question was.
Something
to
about
be honest. Something about Keith. Oh yeah, because I don't think there's a Keith under 40.
Keith, that is why now Keith is the most psychedelic name you could have as a
Yeah.
woman.
So if you're Keith under 30, we want to hear from you.
What's
we
her
want
name?
to we
Come
want
on,
to find
Keith.
we want to find the youngest Keith
Dial
in the world.
0800 Keith.
We want to find
Yeah.
yeah 800 Keith. Or
I
just
want
just
to hear
message the
from
podcast.
you,
I don't know.
Keith.
I hope you're okay. You probably
Hope
had a
you're
rough
okay.
childhood.
Right.
No, that's. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I wish
I would-
every
if
Keith
I went to
health
school with a
and
Keith, I'd bully the
happiness.
fuck out of him.
What did you just say?
I said, if I went to school with a Keith, I'd bully the fuck out of him.
You just go to them. Your name's Keith.
It's not like I was literally the fucking victim in school because I was a sweaty little goth, but let's pretend that I was cool and that I could bully people. Just for being
Just a
called Keith.
fantasy.
We're all in a band together, yeah, we
Poo.
understand. We were that person too.
We were all
None of us are here because
We were all
cool.
Keith inside.
We're all Keith.
You don't
Crossing
learn
with
to
a
play
Keith.
an instrument because you have a good social life.
Release your inner Keith.
That's not how it works. Yeah.
What was the
Right.
question?
Well, the
I can't do this anymore.
We finished Kim. Kim's leaving.
well,
the
it's
band.
all right. We're gonna get to the final part very soon. The third part we'll usually take a small break and we'll go to the third part, but we're just going to carry on.
Yeah.
So it's
okay.
the third part's usually just talking about your music and your single. You've got a new single out, haven't you? Witching Hour.
That's a slightly vintage single now, but we will have another one coming out
That was the kind of question I was
quite
going to ask.
soon that we can't really sort of announce everything yet because what's life without whimsy. But so we'll leave that a bit of a mystery, but there will be something coming.
Well, that was going to be my other question. The other one was when you actually record anything, where do you record?
So we recorded Witch an Hour, a bit guerrilla style. Yeah, we'd set up the drums in like the venue that Eliza used to work at, and we just recorded it on our Mac. And then she uses a Kemper, so we put the guitars through there. And then I recorded the vocals in the storeroom. So I was surrounded by bottles of beer.
Red Stripe.
Taunting me.
Acoustic treatment. And then, so we did all the bits for that ourselves. And I mean, it's good if you've got no money.
Because it sounds real.
If your name is Keith, send us 10 quid.
It sounds really good.
Well, it was Richie from True Bridge Studios that sort of worked his magic on it and mixed it for us. So he's really great.
The best way to do nowadays is you record it all, then you get a guy who knows how to mix stuff.
If you can afford it, just go to the studio.
Yeah, but nobody can afford that kind of stuff. Can they? Like,
I feel like when you're not on a time frame, like you'll dilly dally and it'll take longer. Whereas if you just you've got like 2 days booked in the studio, you do those 2 days and you finish it and it's done. Whereas like with us, it was I can't really do that day. Can't really do that. It's like, we'll just record that again later, and it's like it took forever.
There's something to be said for working with a producer as well. I mean, they're professional producers because they're good at what they do. They're good at going, it needs this bit. You're out of tune. You suck. Play that better. And actually, I kind of need that to get the takes out. So with the latest one, we were at the Old Church Studio with Adam Forster up in Morpeth kind of direction.
Tracks. It's a bit further than Morpeth.
Where is it again?
There's Monia, Rothbury.
Fucking Neverland.
Rothbury. That's the one. Up at Rothbury. So that was really good. So the new one that's coming out, that was done in the studio up there, but the other one was done all over and everywhere and nowhere.
That's cool because it sounds really good, and I think that's. I do ask a few people kind of how did they, because I listened to the recordings first and I was thinking, it sounds like really good. Then you ask, where did you get it? And then, I did the vocals in a stock room. It's like,
it's a nice story to tell people,
It is, that's like...
Adds a bit of something.
That is cool as hell.
Yeah, didn't we have to redo them?
We had to redo a lot.
So
this is why you shouldn't record yourself.
This is why you go in the studio, because we recorded it, and then as you were sent it off to Richie, he was like, everything's really, really quiet. And it was like, well... can you not make it not quiet? And it was like, it was like, well, what I'm working with, it's not going to sound great. It's like, I can make it workable, but it's not going to sound good. And I was like, I guess we'll do it again.
So it's a laborious process. But so the latest one we did in a studio, which is in a converted church. It's very nice for a very big drum sound. Cool. we're really excited about the new one.
Yeah, that one's got a lot more going on it as well, because I think we were just desperate to get something out before that gig that we booked in. So it was like, right, we really rushed the recording. Like, there's so much that I listen to that now, and I'm like, I wish I'd put that in there. Or I wish I'd moved this here. Whereas like, we've took our time with this one. It's got loads of stuff going on. Like, it's more complex. It's also 6.5 minutes long, so it's a bit of a.
That's a long.
Fuck you all.
Yeah, because why? Fuck radio play. Actually, no. Please play us on radios. But it's a nice one. We're proud of it. We're excited to bring that out.
Yeah, because I think it's more as well because we haven't been together very long, and our tactic was kind of, we had that gig booked in, and then it was like, shit, now we got to write a set, so we have something to play. So that was all quite sort of rushed, and I think this is the first one that we're putting out that's kind of come together a bit more organically, and I think it's got those influences that we've been working with anyway, of all the classic rock stuff, the 70s stuff, but it's a little bit gothy as well. There's like a hint of sort of the Cure, Sisters of Mercy.
Yeah, it's like Fleetwood Mac meets Metallica or something.
Yeah.
Little, nice.
Because I think just by looking at us, you can probably tell that we're a big fan of Mrs. Stephen Nicks.
Yes.
Mrs. Stephen.
Keith Nicks.
Mrs. Stephen Nicks. Yeah. So we kind of wanted to get a bit of a nod to the kind of twirly Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, it's a proper twirling song.
Oh, yeah. It's mine. Get your twirling boots.
You'll need your twirling room.
That sounds
Get
really
your tambourines out, not a euphemism.
Get your tambourines out for the lads.
Do you have any shows coming up?
Yes, but I can't remember when they are.
Do you know what it is? Like,
I should have asked that before. I usually pre-prep people, just remember when your shows are.
Stall, I'll find out.
Yeah, we just did our first headline of the year on Sunday.
How did that go?
Amazing.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really cool.
It's a nice venue, Anarchy, isn't it? It's
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, good beer, strong beer.
Very strong beer, my God.
Strong beer. Yeah, no, that was really good.
You can
That
tell
was
they've
fun.
built this. I mean, obviously for the beer, but you can tell that they've built it specifically as a music venue as well, because that stage is.
It's
like,
a nice space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Really
think
cool.
our next one's not until the 4th of April now.
Yeah, it's a while because we've got Trillions. We haven't even announced this yet, but we might as well do it now.
Yeah, screw it, sneak peek. Our next one is going to be at Trillions on the 4th of April with
Vigil of War from LA.
Oh, very good.
Who I'm very excited about that because Alice Vigil now plays with Dragon Force.
And that's our next one.
And then we've got I can't talk about that one yet.
Yeah.
Well, I know I
Super
can,
secret,
There's
man.
a few
Super
that we've
secret.
got on here that we'd love to brag about and just be like,
Some of them are like proper
yeah,
flags.
yeah, we're doing Blackpool
We're
on
in
the
Blackpool.
14th of April with Fury.
we're going to Edinburgh sometime, and then we're going to Great Yarmouth.
Yes, Banshee
all
Labyrinth,
around
most
the place.
haunted
Sheffield as well.
venue.
Yeah.
Going on,
Oh,
Ella.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Um,
But okay, Banshee Labyrinth.
Oh, that one.
That
we
one
can.
we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, Banshee Labyrinth would be good. Get the Ouija board out.
Should have done it here. I've heard like the ISIS is one of the
Yeah,
most haunted
do you want to
places
have a
in London.
seance after this?
Well, go on. There's,
Apparently
there's,
it's
Clearly
haunted.
It
very,
is-
very
it is
haunted.
very haunted. We got visited on the Halloween special.
Can we
By
add a
Mary Ann
part
Cotton.
4 ghost hunting
Not-
section to the
Oh.
podcast?
Oh,
Is
sure.
that
We-
that Durham murder?
I tell you
murders?
what, in our next Halloween special, we'll invite you back on because I'm going to
Oh,
call
yeah.
it
Yes,
Off
please.
the Strange.
Yes. Yeah.
Because Mary Ann Cotton, she's in the other room and she's kind of just in the corner. So me and Connor were just doing the usual podcast, but we're quite warm, so we had our t-shirts on. We had Ashley, who was Connor's girlfriend, and she was in the corner, just like watching all the cameras and stuff like that, freezing her bollocks off. Not she got bollocks, but like she's freezing herself off. You
That's
know?
why she froze them off.
She no longer has bullets.
But we had it was weird. 'Cause we were live streaming it, and live streaming from 2 different cameras because we live streaming it from Facebook and Instagram. And basically, exactly the same point, the lights started to flicker, and the live stream kind of started being a bit funny at one point. And like Ashley was like, nah, I'm not
happening,
going
oh my
here.
God.
Aye.
I love it like that. I come from a
Same,
very
love it.
haunted house, mate.
All
Yes.
of Ashley's
Oh,
chicken
yeah.
disappeared as well.
Yeah.
It was gone.
Oh man.
I think Mary was hungry.
Yeah. But if you wanted to come on the Halloween
Mary-
special to do
Mary
a
Scrap
do a
Cotton.
live seance, try and
Oh.
summon
Yeah.
Mary Ann Cotton.
We've
Yeah.
had many a ghostly visitation among us.
Yeah.
We are cursed as a band, and I think it's because we've pissed off some kind of I don't know, higher power.
I don't know.
The keys going missing, the
Oh,
cars
the
breaking down.
keys.
Like, there's just so much shit
Keys.
that happens to us where it's like,
It's not
I'm
at all
either being
because I'm-
tested by a higher power or we're
scatterbrained.
cursed. It's like,
Yeah.
Is that why your drummer isn't here today? Or?
yeah,
He's been
cursed.
beamed up.
He is the curse.
He is the
All the
He's
drummers are the
currently
curse.
aboard.
Mary's got him next
He's
door.
currently aboard the Mothercraft.
The curse of the Aries.
Yeah. No, yeah, love a bit of ghost hunting.
Same.
I do.
Yeah, down for that.
Yeah, we'll get you back on
See how much
specifically for the
ectoplasm.
Halloween special and
Love
do
that.
like
We'll bring our tools.
the
Oh yeah,
Ouija
we'll
board.
bring
Oh,
all
yeah.
our gubbins, all the equipment,
Ah, that
all the
sounds good.
necessary equipment.
Right. If anybody wants to look you up, what social media details can you give them?
So you can find us on Facebook and Instagram, and obviously we're on Spotify. So it's
Oh,
Crowley
good.
Band UK
Yes, at Crowley Band UK.
at Crowley Band UK, or just Crowley UK on Facebook because apparently there's another Crowley somewhere. That
Well,
we
no,
don't
it's
know.
because there's a
Screw them.
place. You're not allowed to name a Facebook page after a place, and there's a
Oh,
place in
makes sense.
California called Crowley.
It's
Oh.
not even
We
called
must
Crowley.
play
It's
it.
called something that's not even vaguely similar, but
Oh, really?
the algorithm can't
Thinks
seem to
it is.
suss it out.
Yeah,
That's
which is
annoying.
annoying because our Facebook page looks like we are our own tribute band. But yeah, at Crowley Band UK, Crowley UK.
So
on Facebook.
our first single that we were talking about earlier that is available on Spotify at the moment, but nothing else. Everything else is in the pipeline,
soon.
but yeah, we're there soon.
Awesome. Well, this is the bit where I might cut out, I might not. I'm just doing it for like reference. What song are you wanting to sing for us?
So we're gonna do an acoustic where we're gonna try our gosh darndest, give you an acoustic version of The Witching Hour.
Which you know, that's brilliant. Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very
I've
much
had
for
an
having us.
absolute blast.
Yeah.
And we'll get you set up. We are available on Off the Stage UK on everything except Twitter, because some arsehole stole Off the Stage UK on Twitter, and we are Off the Stage 2.
May they fall down the stairs.
Yes.
I bet it was
break their
Keith.
cocks.
Yeah, but it's some guy called Keith.
It's some gadget called Keith.
This is a Keith
Flippin'
hate page.
Keith.
No, it's not. I'm a fan of Keith.
Well, for any-
keep on rocking.
Any Keiths out there under 40?
Keep on rocking.
Keith on rocking. Keith on rocking.
We're going to hide in the
Right.
free world on the end of that.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you again next week. See you later. Hey.
Bye.